The Type 10 is back, and this time we might have found the most destructive one yet. What is going on, guys? The Type 10 has once again returned on Solomon Islands. This new beast stationary weapon was first introduced to us during the launch of the Pacific Theater update. If you were here during that time, you remember me showcasing this weapon and its potential on maps like Pacific Storm. Pacific Storm is still, in my opinion, the best map so far, I think, to utilize this weapon, as there are several of these scattered on the whole playing field. We saw the Type 10 return not too long ago on Wake Island, where this time we discovered the placement of these guns were to give you the jump on vehicles deploying from their home spawn, also giving you line of sight to take out their home spawn's AA gun, giving you and your pilots better control over the skies. However, today we might have found the best Type 10 so far. This is on Solomon Islands for breakthrough. We have two at the very first sector for the map, not too far from each other, with one of them directly on the capture zone. Now, these both can be used to put damage on attacking teams pushing forward, with the Type 10 that's not on the capture zone being the best to catch transportation vehicles pushing the beach. You can also take both of these guns and try to catch the enemy team who may be trying to flank their transportation vehicles around the beach, down the river, catching you and your teammates off guard from behind. Now, originally, I was a bit concerned that this was going to be the best it was going to get, because even though the Type 10 is a monster, there's really not much else you can do with it for the defending team. The Type 10 that isn't on the capture zone is the only one that can see the beach, and is only by a very small amount. The Type 10 that is on the capture zone does have a good angle from players flanking from behind, but if the enemy takes their landing vehicles and places them behind the little mountains right there at the very start of the beach, the enemy is going to easily overrun the beach, and there's really not much else your Type 10 can do. So originally I was thinking, well, maybe the Type 10s are not as effective like they were on Pacific Storm, but they're more like how they were on Iwo Jima, where again there were two Type 10s to start off for breakthrough, but they both kind of struggled getting a good angle on enemies pushing forwards. So I guess this is slightly true then for the defending team. You do kind of struggle like how it is on Iwo Jima, getting a good angle on the enemy team pushing the beach. I think your best bet is getting on these as soon as you can and trying to slow them down as soon as possible, especially those transportation vehicles who are flanking around behind you. Hopefully leaving your teammates to help control the beach, since the Type 10s don't do really that great of a job. It's, however, the attacking team this time that has the massive advantage if they capture the first sector. Once the attacking team does this, all you need to do is jump on the Type 10 that's on the capture zone, turn it a little bit to the right, and there you go. You have the complete view of B flag for the second sector with very little obstructing your view. The defending team will not even know what hit them once you start to use this on them. Again, the Type 10 has a very impressive amount of splash damage on top of a pretty high rate of fire. So shelling consistently over and over again with such an open area is everything here. I would suggest right at the start, after picking off the helpless enemies trying to escape after your team has captured the first sector, to destroy the palm trees that are really the only thing obscuring your view from B flag. From there, I'm not quite sure how often players are realizing the effectiveness of the Type 10 here for the attacking team, because if the defending team was aware of this, they probably won't be trying to defend the section right by the river's edge. Until players realize this, you can easily now help your team push past the river by shelling the defending team who dares to pop themselves out around the different objects giving them cover. Once your teammates move up from there, you can now focus on the small building that's right on the capture zone. You can shell it non-stop, destroying whatever's inside. Also, you can pick off the enemy players who are just to the side of the building, mistakenly thinking they are somehow safer outside it. Now, there are different objects that will give the enemy team a little bit of cover on B flag, but the idea is you take advantage of all the other areas that are having no cover at all, leaving those small spots on B flag something that your teammates can hopefully, run around and finish those players off. I mean, if your teammates cannot push up past the river now and start challenging B flag with you on the Type 10, I really don't know what to say. It's bad enough with the amount of tanks the attacking team has, but now with the Type 10 in the attacking team's arsenal of weapons, B flag at least should be much easier to control. A flag, on the other hand, is not so great. You can see the beach landing from the Type 10's position, but you can't really see the capture zone. So because of this, you're more likely to just be showing your teammates pushing forward. It might be a good spot to look at the very start when your team is pushing up past the river, but personally, I stay more focused on B flag, clearing out all the enemies that are on the other end of the bridge, trying to lay mines and such, preventing your tankers from pushing forward. Now, part of the reason why I think this is the most destructive Type 10 yet is mainly because there's not much the enemy team can do to take you out. Normally, the Type 10's biggest weakness is its armor. It basically takes 1 or 2 shots max from tanks to finish you off, so that was the easiest way to neutralize these before. However, now it's much more difficult for a tank to finish you off. Part of it is due to the fact that the tank has to deal with your teammates' tanks attacking them, but another part is the placement of the Type 10. I mean, it is placed so far back up there, with part of its body covered by the sandbags and wood placed around it. So yeah, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm sure if a tank really wants to get you, it will, but it's going to be much more challenging and not something that's going to be a guaranteed easy kill like it was on the other maps. I think the biggest thing you'll have to worry about is the recon players. It's the only thing that has finished me off so far. Way back behind B flag, it can get a bit tricky trying to finish off those players who are kind of camped out back there. So if you want something for the defending team to use to neutralize the Type 10, the best I'd probably say is try using the recon and a sniper weapon to finish off the player who's in the Type 10. The only downside to this is you don't destroy the Type 10, which is very interesting. If there's one catch to all this, it's because this was on the last sector. You cannot rebuild the Type 10. Matter of fact, if you're on the attacking team that captures the sector and the Type 10 isn't already built, there will be no chance in using this for the second sector. So that starts to get real tricky, trying to cap A flag on that first sector and maybe trying to rebuild it at the exact same time. I narrowly this time was able to rebuild the Type 10, but yeah, if you aren't able to rebuild it, you won't be able to build it after your team begins to push to the next sector. So if I was on the defending team, your best options are probably throw some dynamite here or use the Panzerfaust as you're running away quickly to take the stationary weapon out. Part of me wonders maybe if this was intended by the developers, because yeah, it is kind of surprising to see how effective it is already with tanks pushing forward on those first 2 sectors. Just recently they reduced the tanks from 4 to 2 on the attacking team for that very first sector, but I'm not quite sure how much they've realized what the attacking team can do with the Type 10 here for the following sector. So I don't know if this is meant to be or not. All I would have to say is definitely try jumping on this for the meantime. You will find just how destructive this Type 10 can really be. But feel free to let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. But that is it for you guys today. Again, I always appreciate you guys being here. I am Living, and I'll catch you guys again later.